I'm going to move on.
Good morning. It's
Good
Kurt and Jen in the
morning.
morning podcast.
Thanks for joining us again here today. And we'd like to remind you to follow, to like, to subscribe, which doesn't cost anything, right? Subscription does not cost a thing, but that would certainly help out the show with the growth of the show. And that's what we want. We want growth. We want more people to be watching and listening, just like you. I
Good
haven't
stuff,
had
Kurt.
coffee
We
yet. Can you
had
believe
people
that?
comment on some of the things from yesterday's show, right?
Oh yeah. This was fun because we were talking. You, Jen, you started talking about you had to do an uncomfortable thing, which was to tell somebody at a restaurant, your kids are being too loud. You're ruining our dinner, and they should not be having their screens on at full volume and whatever without headphones. And so Brittany said, "Hey, you know what? I've got small kids, and we don't bring their tablets to anything or everything. They don't bring their tablets to everything, but even so, having them full volume anywhere without headphones." Just plain rude, isn't it? It's just rude.
Yeah.
Rude.
Yeah, it is rude. Thank you
Mhm.
for backing me up on that, Brittany. And then what, Randy, tell me more about this because I didn't even understand it. And you had to maybe, what's going on? What's
Well, we
here?
were talking yesterday about people. The headline. There was a headline from yesterday, which sounded kind of rude, but the headline was bragging about how busy you are makes people think you're an idiot. Not my words. That was the headline. And they did a study at the University of Georgia. Said, you know what? If you sit there and constantly say, "Oh, I'm so busy. I'm so busy," it makes people think that you're actually not very busy. So the opposite. And then Randy chimed in on that one. He said, I can't stand when people brag about being busy. Being busy is not the same as being productive. Being busy is not a virtue. So I don't know.
Amen.
Do you go, haha, after that?
Did it Carrie write in about she said something she was commenting about the squirrels or something like that and I'm
Yeah.
like what do we didn't talk about squirrels.
I think that was okay. You were talking about your boyfriend, Pat, cleaning the bathroom.
The
And he happened
the
to be
shower drain.
right in his birthday suit. That doesn't come into this, but he remember he pulled out a big wad, a long string of
The biggest
hair,
ever. So
milk, and
that's what
whatever.
she was referring to as a squirrel.
They call that a squirrel. Carrie, right? Carrie called that a squirrel, and she said, "Yes, those things are disgusting." So maybe you should be nicer to Pat because he pulls the squirrels out of your tray.
I'm very nice to Pat.
I was waiting for that.
Oh my
All
gosh. And I was
right,
so grateful that he did that because I would not have. I don't I mean you
all
saw
right.
it, right? I was gagging.
Yes, I know, and that's probably the right reaction to that. You said you had a couple of questions for me
Well, I
before we got
wanted to know.
started.
Well, first and foremost, I wanted to know about your field trip to the distillery because you went to you're in Florida.
Oh,
We should have back the bus up. We're usually live from the Seattle area, a little
right.
suburb of Seattle called
Mhm.
Mill Creek. But this time, and we're usually at Kurt's house, and now I'm at my house in Bothell, and Kurt, you are in Florida.
Yes, and Bonita Springs, which is just right next to Naples. So it is, yes, it is very sunny. This light in the background here is what, well, of course, it's 3 hours time ahead here than it is where you guys are. But it's also stinking hot. I mean, who decides to go to Florida at the end of May, beginning of June?
You do
This guy.
because your family's there. Tell me about your field trip.
We went to a distillery called 2580, the Everglades Distillery. And it was highly recommended. It was a bit of a drive, about an hour drive to get here. We did actually go out towards the Everglades, to be honest with you. But we went there to do a tasting. They're a distillery and they specialize in vodkas and whiskey. And I'm going to show this to you. First of all, it's a beautiful bottle. I know that
Oh,
if you're listening, you
yeah,
cannot
that's
hear or see this
pretty.
rather.
Is that like a raised metal emblem on the front or no? Is it
Yes.
just
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Embossed, is that what they call that? So
Well, no,
anyway,
it's an add-on to the bottle. It's a full-on add-on.
this is a whiskey. This is a flavored whiskey, and the flavor, if you can see that, is chocolate coffee. And
Oh.
it is incredible. I am a bit of a bourbon whiskey guy myself, and so that was I'd never heard of a chocolate or coffee whiskey before. So that's what we did yesterday, and that's not a free plug for 2580. I don't know if it's in stores.
It,
You
it
know what? I think that they might say that they're now in Total Wines. I don't know if they'd be in Total Wines in
that makes
Seattle.
sense. Total Wine carries
Yeah, but that
Totally
was amazing.
everything.
But the tasting beforehand, usually you have to pay for like a wine tasting or something. Like, we'd like to do a tasting. Oh no, it's free. Just come on up to the bar. This is me and my sister, my brother-in-law, and we tasted a total of. And I thought ahead on this one because I was like, I'm going to get a little bit buzzed off of this because they had 5 flavored vodkas and then 5 different whiskeys, and even small half
Yeah.
shots of that stuff. So I backed off on half of them because I was designated driver. But
Okay.
yeah,
And
that was
hopefully you
that was
ate a little
fantastic.
something to soak up the alcohol.
Indeed, of course, yeah. So that was yesterday. That was yesterday.
It sounds like we need to
Great.
have some espresso martinis with that little something you bought. We
Let's
just
try
add
it.
some
Yeah, I can't wait.
Baileys
Let's
and or
absolutely.
Kahlua and make it a little
Yes. Oh,
creamier
that'd
and
be great too.
yum-alicious.
Look at you. You know all the recipes.
Well, I just
Um,
know I like my espresso martinis on the creamier side versus just the coffee and alcohol only, like
all right.
straight. You know what I mean? I like it a little bit. I have to
Mhm.
sweeten it up a little bit.
But as
Uh,
usual, I come up with something that I'm bringing back, and you're like, I'm going to get involved with this somehow.
oh, I will.
Give it to me.
I have two
It's
questions for you,
fine.
Kurt. Two
Please.
questions. One, do you know anyone who went to Pearl Jam last night? They were
Oh,
in at Climate Pledge Arena, like the iconic Seattle band Pearl Jam in the house, hometown concert. I
hmm.
don't have tickets.
And that's the first of 2 shows, by
Yeah,
the
they're
way.
going to perform again tonight. And the
I
mayor, didn't the mayor or governor or someone designate it Pearl Jam Day or something like
that was the
2 days
28th.
ago?
That was Tuesday, right? I'm getting my days mixed up. What is today?
The
Thursday?
28th. The 28th was Tuesday,
Right. So
right?
Tuesday
Yeah.
was designated as Pearl Jam Day. Nice.
Yep.
And I do know people, and as I saw the post on Facebook, I was like, oh yeah, they were going and they were going. And you and I, since we're not in radio anymore, there's 2 problems with that. First is we don't get free tickets to concerts, and second is we have this attitude that we don't pay for concert tickets.
Well, I think here's the thing. I think there was a lot of like, I feel like we've been in radio a long time and
Mhm.
there was some glory days where we
Yeah,
used to get to go to free concerts a lot more than we used to toward the end.
it
That's
doesn't
for
happen so
sure.
much anymore. That's true. Yeah.
Anyway, that would be a great concert to see. Although I have to say, I never really got totally into Pearl Jam and Nirvana. I was just never a grunge girl.
Well, you're
I was a
mistaken, but
pop.
that's
I mean, I
okay.
know this will be surprising, but I was more pop.
Yes, you were the pop girl. I think that Pearl Jam is probably perhaps as far as a band as a unit, I think they're the tightest band I've ever seen. Just really, really good in concert. So if you get a chance to go, absolutely. And I believe my friend Steven went. So there's one person I know.
Of
I will
course,
check in with him
Steven
and
went
see
because
how
he goes to all the
just
things.
everything.
Uh,
Everything.
okay, my second question for you. Do you clean your
Mhm.
house before you go on vacation?
Oh, I was hoping for more Pearl Jam questions. Okay.
No
Do I
more Pearl
clean?
Jam. I'm done with Pearl Jam. On to the next.
Yes, we do, mostly because, and I agree, it's nice to come home to a clean house, but my wife is, yeah, much, she's not, it's nice to come home to a clean house. We are going to come home to a clean house. It didn't
Here's the
matter.
thing, your guys' house is already pretty clean, like normally clean. And mine too. I mean, I feel like I don't like live in a
Right.
filthy house. So I don't even know where you guys all have time to like deep clean your house before you go on vacation.
Well, that's our house is it's clean. Yeah, it's not dirty, but I tend to be due to my slight, maybe a little ADHD. I tend to leave things in piles because it's like that way I'll remember. It's like, so there might be, well, here's the mail on the table and here's this thing over here. And so it's cluttered, I guess, more. It's not dirty, but she views it as being cluttered, and she's right.
And there's
So
so she cleans that stuff before she goes on vacation. Dana,
we
your
would
wife?
try to we would try to I'll get my
Cool.
honey-do list of well, before you go, take care of the stuff on the counter and take care of this thing over here in the corner. And
Well,
so
you're part of the majority of Americans because 3 out of 4 Americans, I am not one of those, clean their house before they go on a trip because they hate coming home to total filth.
that's what it is. Although I hope that that's not actual filth. I think it's more like hopefully it's disorganization rather than
I think
filth.
it's an exaggeration. So here's the thing. It's
Please.
because they claim, or over half of the people that clean their house say, if I don't clean it, I'm just going to be stressed about how dirty my house is while I'm on vacation. I'm
And then
like,
they come
people,
home.
you got to
Yeah.
let it go.
They come home and they're even stressed more because, yep, there it is. But what you've got you put up some of the things here, and one of them is making sure you get the laundry done before you go on vacation.
That's only because I need to wash what I want to pack.
Right, right. Well, this time, just to back up just a second, it's just me here. Dana was able to come this time because so she is at home, so we didn't have to actually get the house
I
organized
get
for both
that.
of us to
I'm just
be.
saying,
But
are you one of
we
those
still do.
people?
Yes, absolutely. And
So
and so and the
you
laundry
are
is
one
always a
of
big
them. I
deal.
am not. Just
Hmm.
the other popular things that people like to clean before they go on vacation, besides doing their laundry. And I truly believe it's because they need to pack some of that stuff. Dishes, which I get. I hate dirty dishes.
Right.
But I would do those just because I do dishes as they get dirty versus because I'm going on vacation. The
Plus,
bathroom,
it would seem like the dishes. You're like, ooh, that's got yeah. It's like there's some that might
all I'm
attract
saying,
animals or bugs or something.
right. All I'm saying is that yes, okay. The bathroom, sweeping, vacuuming, mopping, and then cleaning the kitchen counters, the stove, tossing old food out of the fridge. If I'm gone a long time, I will do that because there's nothing worse than coming back to a bunch of moldy, smelly food in the fridge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And let us know, by the way, if you're one of those people, or if you have some other suggestions. But well, when we go on vacation, we do this. We're
Yeah.
happy to hear that. We're Kurt and Jen on the radio. No, it's Kurt and Jen in the morning.com is
We're
the
not
web.
on the radio
We're
anymore.
not
That's
on the
why we're
radio anymore. I know that
podcasting.
was the longest
I think
longest
the
name in history.
podcasting is fun though. So I'm
I enjoy
liking
it very
this
much. Yeah.
whole version. And we love to hear from you. I will keep reiterating that all the time that
Mhm.
connect with us because we will respond and we love to just hear what you have to say about the show and any topics that we're talking about. Okay. You said something about if you're a
Dads.
dad, your kids might
Yep.
be killing you slowly. What?
Well, I think a lot of parents might agree, period. I'm like, yeah, my kids are killing me slowly. But this is specific for dads, and there was actual research done. This is Northwestern University. They found dads are at a higher risk for heart attacks and poor cardiovascular health in general. And this is dads specifically. They think it's because the added stress and responsibility that comes along with being a parent affords less time for healthy activities like exercise and eating right. So you're thinking right away, Jen's like, well, what about the moms? I don't know. This was just about dads, right? Because obviously this would apply to moms as well. Um, if your dad was young when you were born, you've done even more damage.
What?
Men who were under 25 when they had their first kid are at highest risk of the cardiovascular disease and heart attacks. So that's when you see a headline like, "Are you a dad? Your kids might be slowly killing you." You read that story and find out that this is the deal. Apparently, there's some good news, and I hope it doesn't get too sciencey because then I find words I can't pronounce. But the good news is if your dad's heart survives the stress you've put him under, you might actually save his life someday. The study also found dads are more likely to die of heart issues, but less likely to die from any other cause. So having
So
kids and being a dad.
I don't know about this story. I don't know about this one. Here's the thing. Aren't men in general more likely to die of heart disease?
I
But
thought
there is
so.
a study saying if you're a male and you're a father, it's even more of a chance.
I guess that's what it's saying,
Oh
yes.
my
But
gosh. And anything that takes you away from eating right and exercising is slowly killing you. So my
way
life
to,
is one big slow
that's
death.
right. Way to put your foot down on this one. Jen's like, I ain't buying it. I don't care if Northwestern did a research on this. It's yeah. So anyway, that there is some good news there at the end, I suppose. Dads, thanks for listening and good luck with your heart health.
We teased this, as we call it in the business, that we were going to
Hmm.
talk about this today. We talked about in yesterday's show. Basic things that you took way too long to figure out, like these aha moments that
Hmm.
you probably should have already known,
Right.
or it's basically our version of the whole like today I was blank years old when I learned this thing,
This.
right? Like it's
Yeah.
just like stuff that you probably should have already maybe known.
And here's the thing, I understand it because I myself, you know what happens to me, and this is a little bit related to this. Is if you've ever been driving, you're driving down the road and you're like, you see, let's use Wendy's restaurant, for example. All right.
Okay.
You're like, wow, when did they put that Wendy's there? How long has that been there? And then they're like, my wife would be like, 20 years?
Yeah.
Like, really? If that ever happened to you?
Oh, for sure. And
Okay.
let's just have some like transparency here on the show. Kurt and I meet for, maybe an hour before we actually hit the record button. And
Hmm.
we talk about what we're going to talk about. And we're like, well, we need to bring our own examples to this.
Right.
And I'm like, I know I have these moments all the time where it's like, I learn stuff every day. And I'm like, why didn't I know that before right now?
Right.
And
So
I
this is
can't
getting
think
back
of
to
one dang thing
this is
to
getting
give
back to
to
the end with the
people because
phrase.
my brain.
The phrase is, I was blank years old when I learned blank, basically. But fortunately, Jen, we do have some listeners slash viewers that did have examples.
Hey, let's hear them.
Sonia, who's one of our favorites, she's well into her adult life and just recently discovered, Sonia did, that there's a holder for the gas cap on the inside of the gas tank door.
I just learned that like in the past, within the last 5-ish years. I was dating a guy that was super into cars. Yes, and yeah.
You don't have to be super into cars to know this. I think that but if you know what, if you never look, you got the gas cap open, right? You got the gas tank open, you're filling your tank. If you don't actually look down and see that there's that little
I
hole
just dangle it.
inside
It
of
usually
the
just
little
dangles, but
door,
now I like put it in its
mhm,
nice little
yeah,
place on the little door thing.
you're no longer a dangler. That's good to hear. April, thanks for listening, by the way. Just found out that there's an arrow. This is another car related thing. April just found out that there's an arrow on a dashboard next to the gas gauge that tells you what side of the car to fill the fuel tank.
I didn't know that either. I learned
Mhm.
that recently.
Well, that actually, I can't say this is a recent thing, but let me just say, when I started driving, that did not exist. You had to know which side, and it's such a simple thing. You just put a little arrow.
And it's just tiny. It's like a tiny little triangle, right? Usually it just points like
Right.
this side is where your gas tank is on.
Yes, and sometimes when your low fuel light pops up there, which Jen, by the way, was so proud. You had the low fuel light come on at some point, and you ran your gas tank down to where it said, not you have 10 miles left, or you have 15, or we got 20 miles remaining, 1 mile left.
I made
On,
it.
yeah, and you sent me a picture like you're all proud. Look what I did.
Well, I took a
Meanwhile,
picture of 1 mile, and by the way, I'm in line at the Costco gas station.
which you could have in that line, you could have run out of gas just waiting there.
Seriously.
So, but that was a
Sarah,
problem with
who's
that.
53, learned that Rhode Island isn't actually an island.
Come
And
on, Sarah.
what did
Really?
Devin said what?
Oh, Devin thought that when you go to call an elevator to your floor, pushing the elevator button multiple times made it get to your floor faster.
That does not work. It doesn't. So
But I bet
you're saying
you know what?
he discovered that did not indeed work at all.
But I bet you do that, Jen. Do you push? You go, come on, bing, 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 bing.
Mm-hmm.
See?
And the crosswalk thing too.
Oh, what is that? What does the crosswalk thing do? Make it change faster?
Yeah, if you hit it a lot of times, no, it doesn't. But I am like,
I like the crosswalk, the relatively new crosswalk things. Now that you hit the button, it goes, wait, wait. It's like,
Kurt, were
all
you
right.
just drinking coffee?
No, I'm drinking ice water out of a Cincinnati Bengals cup.
Okay, thankfully, because you're supposed to wait 90 minutes before your first cup of coffee in the morning.
Well, we'll see about that. Should you or should you not? And this is a caffeine delay that we just heard about. The New York Times did a big write-up on something called caffeine delay, and I had not heard of caffeine delay until this morning. Basically, it's saying the idea is it's better to wait an hour or two before your first cup of coffee. Now, let me ask you, Jen Pirak, are you going to wake up and wait an hour or two before your first cup of coffee?
You know what? I actually do wait because I had heard about something about this, that it's better for your body if you wait. But keep going, because I want to know what this little article says that you're reading from, or study, or whatever.
I'll try to keep the boring stuff to a minimum. According to experts, if you want to, this will work only if you want to limit yourself to 1 cup of coffee a day. Here's the boring stuff. Caffeine works by binding the receptors in your brain. It binds 2 receptors in your brain, and it blocks a chemical that makes you drowsy called adenosine. All right. So your adenosine levels are at their lowest right after you wake up. So there's less of it to block.
Okay.
Which means, I guess, right, if you right away wake up and take your coffee, there's less anyway. That's why the immediate cup of coffee might do you as much good as if it would if you waited till a little bit later in the day. I guess by then you're I don't know, because to me it seems like if your adenosine levels are at their lowest right after you wake up, oh, I see, you're going to have more adenosine going on later in the day, and then if you have the coffee, it will regulate that, I guess, and it's better to regulate it when there's more in your body. Are you going to wait on your coffee still?
Yeah.
Because I'm a
I
wake up and have a coffee right away guy, and I don't
I
care about
usually
this.
wake up and I try to drink some water.
Okay, that's good.
Mhm.
Hydration is important.
I'm gonna add to this because it's
Important.
kind of a health nutrition thing.
Mhm.
I uh I have been on the struggle bus about my weight. I'm like, and I'm trying to do calorie deficit. Nothing's working, and I'm in this whole menopause phase. So I'm really like seeking out information and help. And one of my friends, Lori, is a health and nutrition coach. So I sat down with her yesterday after we played some pickleball, and she was telling me, I'm like, what is something I can do? Like one thing I can do now to just try to change things up. And she said, the order in which you eat things, just try that. Don't change necessarily what you eat for right now,
Hmm.
except for the order in which you eat things, and add, and what you need to do that is add in some kind of fiber, like salad, like greens. Add greens to your meal, every meal, and eat that first, because that
Oh,
layers your, I mean, there's lots of sciencey stuff again, right? And your wife Dane is going to know this as well,
yeah.
probably, right? It coats your
Nutritionist, right?
stomach so that it doesn't absorb the sugars as fast, right?
Hmm.
Because you're going to probably be eating some kind of sweet or carb or whatever.
Right.
She's like, just for now, keep eating what you're eating, eat the bread at the restaurant. But if you're going to eat the bread at the restaurant, have a salad first. If you're going to have some oatmeal or something, or what was a good example for breakfast? Anyway, then I was listening to a podcast on my way to dinner last night, and that podcast happened to deliver that same exact message. And I'm just like, okay, the universe is telling me something. I'm going to eat more greens,
All right.
more
Well,
fiber in my life. That was a total like random thing, but it was part of this nutrition thing, and I just
no, it's
said
great.
it.
And it was not, we all know to eat more greens. That's a good thing. But you said now your friend who knows about this stuff is like the order that you eat these things in is important as well. So every meal, she says, and this is not, we're not giving any sort of medical advice to anybody. Jen and I, we don't, and no, we don't know anything. We're just the messengers here. So she is saying if you eat the greens first, that's better for your opportunity at weight loss or just healthier.
Well, I mean, number one, it's healthier, right? Because you're putting more fiber in your diet, but that fiber adds a lining to your gut or whatever as you eat more things. So if you're putting carbs in, it just helps. It doesn't absorb the sugar. I mean, I don't know all the things, but it's something like it helps delay the absorbing of the sugars that would come with carbs or a dessert that you're going to eat. It's just going
Okay.
to help that with digestion, I guess. Something. You know, here's the thing. I just got to find the something that's going to work for me, and I'm just and the whole quick weight loss Ozempic or whatever, because you know,
Right.
I see people around me doing it. It's a quick fix, and I think that that's awesome if it's working for you. It's just not something I want to do, so I got to figure something out. So
Right.
that's the journey I'm on right now.
Okay. Well, you and a lot of people, myself included, I don't have the added pre-menopause thing that I'm holding off on that as long as I can. But that's an added thing. So okay, cool. Let's move on to stuff about young people.
Us, you mean?
Okay, yes, but besides us, and I was concerned about this, concern is the wrong word, but it kind of made me wonder. Um, Half of Gen Zers say that they're living a quote double life with both an online and offline persona.
Tell me
And
more.
well, it's
I mean, it's easy to do because of the
right,
online, like online, you can just be totally someone
right.
different.
Well, those of us that are old enough to remember when social media became a thing. I mean, some people, that's all they've been around for their whole life. But it
For
was it
us, it
was
has not.
sold right. For it was sold as a way to share our lives with friends and family, kind of like a photo book or whatever. That hey, look, here's the stuff that we did. Of course, it's turned out to be way more than that, and some in good ways and some in bad ways. So, Gen Zers is who they asked about this. More than half of Gen Zers say that social media has them feeling like they have a double life between their online and offline personas. And this is where I think it's the keeping up with the Joneses type of thing, where, well, this is I was dating somebody a long time ago that had some kids, and she would always post, their achievements on social media without their names. They was very protective of the names and stuff. And I said, well, if you put up when Ethan, let's say, gets a minus on their report card, next time when they get a D, do you also put that up? It's like, oh no, I'm not going to do that. It's like, well, isn't that I mean, you're creating, in my opinion, it seemed like you're creating this life of perfection, where your kids always get good grades and you just wear the best clothes because you just showed yourself in this, and so I wondered if, and I don't know about this as not being a doctor or even have any kind of degree about that, but I wondered if is this going to create problems later in life for people that they've basically spun this story online of their perfect lives, and they're not anywhere near perfect, like anybody's life isn't. So I just kind of wondered about that. And am I wrong to say if you're going to post the A report cards, you should also post the D report cards?
I mean, yeah, I think that if you're gonna be real and authentic, that you're
Mhm.
gonna post the good with the bad.
Right. But of
But
course nobody does that.
but
I mean,
that's not what social media typically is, and
right.
that's hard to remember sometimes because I will be going down that stupid social media rabbit hole where I'm going to look something up, I get squirreled, and then all of a sudden I've spent so much time and I feel like crap because I'm like, I need to go on a vacation.
Yeah.
I need to exercise and be healthier. I need to do all these things.
Right. And like I said, there's good and bad to it. Yeah, I feel, but that is an issue. All my friends are going on vacation. I should go on vacation
Yeah,
too.
it's rough. I just you have to balance it out. You know that everybody has good and bad in their lives, period. Not
Right.
no one's life is all good. I 100% believe that, but they're not going to necessarily show that on social. So you got to keep that in mind.
Right. And then they maybe have in their mind, well, I gotta keep up this kind of facade, and
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm just be real. Like be real. We're all on
Speaking
the
of which,
the same earth on the same kind of journey of
true.
the and we're all going to go to the same end game.
Yep. Yep. I was just gonna say, how is Macy doing with 2 weeks now? Your oldest is 15 years old and she now has social media privileges, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Is
I
she being
literally
good?
am still I have it right here. It's something that I have to finish today. Her social media contract that I'm
Oh,
working on. Where is it? I can't find it. It's not in this pile of thing. I have
okay.
a whole thing where we worked on it last night. I'm like, okay, you need to tell me who are if something bad happens on social, like you're being bullied or someone's trying to approach you or something, who are 5 trusted people that you can talk to about it. And we're
Right.
writing that down in the contract. And some the other thing that she has to think about, we haven't finished filling it out. This should be an easy answer, but it wasn't for her. I
What's that?
said, social media cannot be your priority. There are so many other things that are important in life. So what are 5 things that are more important to you and that you'll remember are more important to you than social media? And she's like, I don't know, I guess my friends.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, yeah.
well, okay, what about your friends? You mean being in person with your friends? Yes, we're gonna write that one down.
Yeah. And just as an overall comment, I think we need, people. It's just everybody, you're great the way you are. And I kind of wonder if this isn't flying in the face of that whole thing. To love yourself exactly the way that you are, you're fine. You don't have to have these clothes, you don't have to have these. And that is one other thing about this story we just had about Gen Z people saying, I've got 2 lives. I got my online life and my offline life. And it's like, come on.
I mean, that happens in dating too, really, Kurt. I mean,
That's a good point.
you think you're gonna be meeting up with someone and you were totally, is it catfished? When you show up and they're nothing like it's just nothing like they were
Right.
saying they were online.
Yep. Gotta be careful out there.
Yeah. Kurt,
Hmm.
I don't know what our timing looks like right now, but when we were talking about those things that you learned, like that you wish you would have known earlier or should have known earlier,
Yeah.
I forgot I had my show and tell.
Oh, you want to do your show and
Can I
tell?
show you? So one of the
Yes.
things I'm going to show you, hopefully you can see it. Garbage can. They.
Okay.
Now, what do you normally do? I normally like open it up and would like,
Fluff it out.
yeah, but you're supposed to just put it over like this. Look at this. Put it over like this.
And then
And then
invert
you
it.
just punch it in. Boom. Done.
For
What?
those that aren't viewing, that are just listening, you took the garbage bag, and I think that I just assumed there was one way to put a garbage bag. This is like a kitchen garbage bag into a kitchen garbage can. You just, yeah, like you said, you fluff it out and you push it down in there. But you're saying you can put it over the top put it across the top when it's still before it's fluffed out. You just put it across the top of the opening of the garbage.
And then
And
push it in.
okay,
That sounds
that's
dirty.
that's been no, yeah. That is, I'd never considered that. Well, I didn't know that until right this moment. I did not know that until right now. You can do that with a garbage bag.
You're welcome. It works. You should try it.
Okay. Yes. And we will have that up. Are we going to allow people to chime in for that again for
Well,
tomorrow?
yeah, I feel like, is that something that you learned that you should have known? I mean, I don't know if that, I feel like that's like a hack, kind of.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, that's not one. I would agree that
Listen,
you should
I'll
have
take
known
a
that.
life hack any old day. If it makes my life easier, you chime in. You chime in like crazy.
A life hack. I
Kurt, you have been spending the whole week in
right,
Florida with
right.
your dad and your sister, your two sisters, right?
Yeah, one's in Tampa and she was down here. She's back in Tampa now, which is about 2 hours, not quite 2 hours north of here. But it has been something happened where you know that you listen to your quote unquote elders for words of wisdom and stuff like.
Yeah.
And I think I've compiled a pretty good list of things my dad told me. It basically things you want to share and pass along. We're going to start with. I'll just give you an example, and this is not the best one, but many years ago, my dad told me, "Don't eat the yellow snow." I was like, "Okay, that's a good one. That's
That's a
a good
very good
one."
one.
So yeah, I know. Trust me, the other ones are way more not only informative and useful maybe than that. But that is a good one. Don't eat the yellow snow. That's
So you're gonna have it's words of wisdom that Kurt has learned from his dad along the way, and just
yeah,
you're just getting kind of more of that, and I think that you appreciate it way more. You're soaking it in as our parents
as an
age.
adult.
You
Yep.
know that time is limited, unfortunately, and yeah, so good. I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah,
So
he's a pretty funny guy too. So I'm looking forward to this because I said, hey, come up with a few more and we'll share them tomorrow. So this could be interesting and or
I
hilarious.
love it. I
I
love it.
hope. I hope.
All right, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you
Yes, very
letting us be
much.
part of your day, and have a great rest of your day. Make good choices, find joy, and spread kindness. Have a good one.